Hello and welcome to another video. One of the sad facts of life for everyone living on the earth is that sooner or later we will lose a loved one to death. Even if the person we lose has lived a long life and has died of old age, it's still very upsetting. A recent example of that is the death of Queen Elizabeth II. She died aged 96, but millions worldwide are grief-stricken at the news, and the majority of them never even knew her personally. When Moses died, aged 127, Deuteronomy 34:8 tells us that the Israelites wept for him for the mourning period of 30 days. The Bible reveals that Jehovah never intended for humans to ever die in the first place. Proof of that is when we consider, together please, what Jehovah God said to the very first human being Adam at Genesis 2 verses 15 to 17. Let's turn to that together please. That's Genesis 2 verses 15 to 17. And it reads there, it says, "And Jehovah God proceeded to take the man," that's Adam, "and settle him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate it and to take care of it. And Jehovah God also laid this command upon the man: From every tree of the garden you may eat to satisfaction. But as for the tree of the knowledge of good and bad, you must not eat from it. For in the day you eat from it, you will positively die." Can you see here that death is a punishment? If Adam had obeyed Jehovah, he would still be living here today on the earth. Additionally, Adam didn't ask Jehovah what he meant by the expression to die. He knew that already, as he saw the animals dying. For animals to die is a natural event. For us humans, it isn't. That's why we grieve. As Romans 5 verse 12 states, sin came into the world through one man, namely Adam, and his sin brought death with it. As a result, death has spread to the whole human race because everyone has sinned. Because of Adam's catastrophic action, Romans 8 verse 20 states, "Because we all get sick, grow old, or not grow old, and die, that creation was condemned to lose its purpose or be subjected to futility." The positive statement in Romans 8:20 is that it says shortly after that, "Yet there was the hope that creation itself would one day be set free from its slavery to decay and would share in the glorious freedom of the children of God." A tremendous incident in the life and ministry of Jesus, which can instill in us that hope, is the account of Jesus and Lazarus at John chapter 11. The best dramatization of this event that I've ever seen, which is very moving, is from the film Jesus of Nazareth starring Robert Powell. You can see it on YouTube. The film is 6 hours and 12 minutes long. The reenactment about Jesus in Lazarus is commencing from 3 hours 45 minutes. If you would like to see that before or after I read the whole of John 11 and give my thoughts afterwards. So let's turn together to that account It's at John chapter 11. As I said, the whole of John 11 is dealing with Jesus and Lazarus. So it reads there, it says, "Now there was a certain man sick, Lazarus of Bethany, of the village of Mary and of Martha, her sister. It was, in fact, the Mary that greased the Lord with perfumed oil and wiped his feet dry with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore his sisters dispatched word to him, saying, Lord, see, the one for whom you have affection is sick. But when Jesus heard it, he said, This sickness is not with death as its object, but is for the glory of God, in order that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. However, when he heard that he was sick, then he actually remained 2 days in the place where he was. Then after this he said to the disciples, Let us go into Judea again. The disciples said to him, Rabbi, just lately the Judeans were seeking to stone you, and are you going there again? Jesus answered, There are 12 hours of daylight, are there not? If anyone walks in daylight, he does not bump against anything, because he sees the light of this world. But if anyone walks in the night, he bumps against something, because the light is not in him. He said these things, and after this he said to them, Lazarus our friend has gone to rest, but I am journeying there to awaken him from sleep. Therefore the disciples said to him, Lord, if he has gone to rest, he will get well. Jesus had spoken, however, about his death, but they imagined he was speaking about taking rest in sleep. At that time, therefore, Jesus said to them outspokenly, Lazarus has died, and I rejoice on your account that I was not there, in order for you to believe. But let us go to him. Therefore Thomas, who was called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, Let us also go, that we may die with him. Consequently, when Jesus arrived, he found that he had already been 4 days in the memorial tomb. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, at a distance of about 2 miles. Accordingly, many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary in order to console them concerning their brother. Therefore Martha, when she heard that Jesus was coming, met him, but Mary kept sitting at home. Martha therefore said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. And yet at present I know that as many things as you ask God for, God will give you. Jesus said to her, Your brother will rise. Martha said to him, I know he will rise in the resurrection on the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that exercises faith in me, even though he dies, will come to life. And everyone that is living and exercises faith in me will never die at all. Do you believe this? She said to him, Yes, Lord, I have believed that you are the Christ, the Son of God, the one coming into the world. And when she had said this, she went off and called Mary her sister, saying secretly, The teacher is present and is calling you. The latter, when she heard this, got up quickly and was on her way to him. Jesus had not yet, in fact, come into the village, but he was still in the place where Martha met him. Therefore the Jews that were with her in the house and that were consoling her, on seeing Mary rise quickly and go out, followed her, supposing that she was going to the memorial tomb to weep there. And so Mary, when she arrived where Jesus was and caught sight of him, fell at his feet, saying to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Jesus, therefore, when he saw her weeping, and the Jews that came with her weeping, groaned in the spirit and became troubled. And he said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus gave way to tears. Therefore the Jews began to say, "See, what affection he used to have for him." But some of them said, "Was not this man that opened the eyes of the blind man able to prevent this one from dying?" Hence Jesus, after groaning again within himself, came to the memorial tomb. It was, in fact, a cave, and a stone was lying against it. Jesus said, "Take the stone away." Martha, the sister of the deceased, said to him, "Lord, by now he must smell, for it is 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God?" Therefore they took the stone away. Now Jesus raised his eyes heavenward and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. True, I knew that you always hear me, but on account of the crowd standing around I spoke, in order that they might believe that you sent me forth." And when he had said these things, he cried out with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come on out!" The man that had been dead came out with his feet and hands bound with wrappings, and his countenance was bound about with a cloth. Jesus said to them, "Loose him and let him go." Therefore many of the Jews that had come to Mary and that beheld what he did put faith in him. But some of them went off to the Pharisees and told them the thing Jesus did. Consequently, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered the Sanhedrin together and began to say, "What are we to do? Because this man performs many signs. If we let him alone this way, they will all put faith in him, and the Romans will come and take away both our place and our nation." But a certain one of them, Caiaphas, who was high priest that year, said to them, "You do not know anything at all, and you do not reason out that it is to your benefit for one man to die in behalf of the people, and not for the whole nation to be destroyed." This, though, he did not say of his own originality, but because he was high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus was destined to die for the nation, and not for the nation only, but in order that the children of God who were scattered about, he might also gather together in one. Therefore, from that day on, they took counsel to kill him. Hence Jesus no longer walked about publicly among the Jews, but he departed from there to the country near the wilderness, into a city called Ephraim, and there he remained with the disciples. Now the Passover of the Jews was near, and many people went out of the country to Jerusalem before the Passover in order to cleanse themselves ceremonially. Therefore they went looking for Jesus, and they would say to one another as they stood around in the temple, "What is your opinion? That he will not come to the festival at all?" As it was, the chief priests and the Pharisees had given orders that if anyone got to know where he was, he should disclose it in order that they might seize him. So let's read together again verses 11 to 14. He said these things, and after this he said to them, "Lazarus our friend has gone to rest, but I am journeying there to awaken him from sleep." Therefore the disciples said to him, "Lord, if he has gone to rest, he will get well." Jesus had spoken, however, about his death, but they imagined he was speaking about taking rest in sleep. At that time, therefore, Jesus said to them outspokenly, "Lazarus has died." Notice that Jesus compared death to sleep. Lazarus was neither in heaven nor in a burning hell. He was not meeting angels or ancestors, neither was he being reborn as another human. He was at rest at death, as in a deep sleep without dreams. That harmonizes with what King Solomon was inspired by Jehovah God to pen in Ecclesiastes 9, verses 4 to 6 and verse 10. Let's read that together, please. That's Ecclesiastes 9, verses 4 to 6 first. That's Ecclesiastes 9. It's a wonderful illustration here, firstly. So, Ecclesiastes 9, 4 to 6, it says there, "For as respects whoever is joined to all the living, there exists confidence, because a live dog is better off than a dead lion. For the living are conscious that they will die, but as for the dead, they are conscious of nothing at all. Neither do they any more have wages, because the remembrance of them has been forgotten. Also their love and their hate and their jealousy have already perished, and they have no portion any more to time indefinite in anything that has to be done under the sun." And verse 10 there. "All that your hand finds to do, do with your very power. For there is no work, nor devising, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in Sheol, the place to which you are going." Other scriptures also compare death to sleep. For example, at Acts 7:60, when the disciple Stephen was stoned to death, it says that he fell asleep. Similarly, the Apostle Paul wrote at 1 Corinthians 15:6 about some in his day who had fallen asleep in death. Interestingly, if you Google the word cemetery, it comes all the way from the Greek word koimeterion, which means sleeping place. Now let's continue on in John 11 by reading together verses 20 to 27. So back to John 11, and that's verses 20 to 27. It says there, "Therefore Martha, when she heard that Jesus was coming, met him, but Mary kept sitting at home. Martha therefore said to Jesus, 'Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. And yet at present I know that as many things as you ask God for, God will give you.' Jesus said to her, 'Your brother will rise.' Martha said to him, 'I know he will rise in the resurrection on the last day.' Jesus said to her, 'I am the resurrection and the life. He that exercises faith in me, even though he dies, will come to life. And everyone that is living and exercises faith in me will never die at all. Do you believe this?' She said to him, 'Yes, Lord, I have believed that you are the Christ, the Son of God, the one coming into the world.'" When in verse 24, Martha said to Jesus, "I know he will rise in the resurrection on the last day," she was referring to a time in the future. I believe that time is after Armageddon, when close to 100% of everyone who's ever died will be brought back to life during Jesus' 1,000-year messianic reign. Jesus actually touched on that at John chapter 5, verses 28 and 29. Let's read that together, please. That's John 5, 28 and 29. This is Jesus' words. He said, "Do not marvel at this, because the hour is coming in which all those in the memorial tombs will hear his voice and come out. Those who did good things to a resurrection of life, those who practiced vile things to a resurrection of judgment." Martha wasn't expecting Jesus to resurrect Lazarus back to life there and then. Returning to the reading, when Jesus was being led to Lazarus' memorial tomb, he wept. This moved some to say, at verse 37, "Was not this man that opened the eyes of the blind man able to prevent this one from dying?" This wasn't the first time that Jesus had brought people back to life. The first resurrection that Jesus performed was a widow's son in the city of Nain, as recorded at Luke 7, verses 11 to 17. You can read that at Luke 7, verses 11 to 17. Not long after that, he resurrected Jairus' 12-year-old daughter, as recorded at Matthew 9, Mark 5, and Luke 8. That's Matthew 9, Mark 5, and Luke 8. The difference between them and Lazarus was decomposing, yet Jesus proceeded to resurrect him by the power instilled in him by Jehovah God, his Father. The account of Lazarus teaches us that the resurrection is a reality, not a mere myth. Jesus raised Lazarus and the widow's son in front of a crowd of eyewitnesses. Even the religious leaders who hated Jesus did not deny this miracle. Rather, they said at verse 47, "What are we to do? Because this man performs many signs." Many people went to see the resurrected Lazarus. As a result, even more of them put faith in Jesus. They saw in Lazarus living proof that Jesus was sent by God. This evidence was so powerful that it moved High Priest Caiaphas, a Sadducee who didn't believe in the resurrection, to plot with other hard-hearted Jewish religious leaders to murder both Lazarus and Jesus. There are 6 other resurrection accounts in God's Word, the Bible. They are when the prophet Elijah resurrected a widow's son at 1 Kings 17, 17 to 24. That's 1 Kings 17, 17 to 24. The prophet Elisha resurrecting a Shunammite woman's son at 2 Kings 4, 32 to 37. That's 2 Kings 4, 32 to 37. Elisha's own resurrection at 2 Kings 13, 20 and 21. That's 2 Kings 13, 20 and 21. Jehovah resurrecting Jesus at Matthew 28, verses 5 to 7. That's Matthew 28, verses 5 to 7. The Apostle Peter resurrecting the Christian woman Dorcas at Acts 8, 9, 36 to 42. That's Acts 9, 36 to 42. And the Apostle Peter resurrecting the young man Eutychus, who fell from a 3rd-story building at Acts 27 to 12. That's Acts 27 to 12. To read and study these accounts is a delight because it gives us the comfort and reassurance that death isn't the end of the story. We can be reunited with our dead loved ones again. Thank you very much. All the best. Bye.